everyone, welcome back to another Psychic Sunday with Jackie. I am so excited for this video, but first, before I get into it, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everybody that liked and shared my last Psychic Sunday video about clairvoyance, and if you haven't seen it yet, I'll link it up in the eye above. Today we're going to be talking about clairaudience. Clairaudience translates to clear hearing. So with clairaudience, just like how we receive the images and the little Snapchat videos in our mind's eye, we receive clairaudient messages and sounds, names, things like that in our mind's voice. So our mind's voice is the same basically as your own thoughts. Some people call it your thoughts voice, some people call it your mind's voice. It's basically where you think your own thoughts. So if you were to think, wow, that apple looks so juicy, in your thoughts right now, that's the same space that you will be receiving clairaudient messages. The biggest thing that people run into when they're first beginning to learn about clairaudience is how do you distinguish between your own thoughts and an actual clairaudient message? There's a really easy way to do this that you can start implementing as soon as this video is over, and it will help to sort of build that trust within yourself, and you'll be able to distinguish between your thoughts and a clairaudient message. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to start to become aware of any clairaudient messages you get throughout the day, and you want to start to trace them back. What I mean by this is, for example, if you were out driving and someone in front of you swerved a little bit, and then all of a sudden your thought was, oh my gosh, there's going to be a car accident. That thought is rooted in anxiety and is not an actual clairaudient message. The way that you can trace that thought back is go, okay, did anything trigger that thought? And yes, the person in front of you swerving would have been the thing that triggered that thought. So you want to make sure that you're distinguishing between thoughts that are rooted in anxiety and thoughts that are coming from a purely clairaudient source. I have a quick little story about something that happened where I was looking for coconut milk in the grocery store. I'd been in there for 15 minutes. I couldn't find it. I was trying to make this coconut chicken dish or something, and I could not find the coconut milk. I looked everywhere. And all of a sudden I heard international foods. And I was like, why would it be in the international foods aisle? That doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't it be with the other milk or the almond milk? Why isn't it in a normal place where milk is found? Why is it found in an aisle? And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I went to check anyway because I try to trust the clairaudient messages I get, even if I argue with them. And there the coconut milk was, in the aisle, on the shelf. And that is the difference between clairaudient messages and messages rooted in anxiety or fear. So you want to be able to start to distinguish. Clairaudient messages are going to come out of nowhere, and they will not be able to be traced back to something that triggered it. It will come purely out of nowhere. That will help you start to distinguish between what's your thought and what is an actual clairaudient message. It's very useful because the sooner you start to trust and just believe what you're getting is real, the more your guides and angels and things like that will send you messages, and it's one of the easiest ways to communicate with them because it is just like listening to somebody. The first exercise that will help you develop clairaudience is a simple exercise where you sit down and you imagine what certain sounds sound like. So you sit down, and I like to pick very distinguishable sounds, very out there sounds, very easily replicated sounds, because it just makes the entire exercise easier and it will help you to develop quicker. What you want to do is you want to sit down, get into that meditative space just like the clairvoyant exercise, and start to imagine a very distinct noise. You could use church bells, you could use birds, you can use a horse's neigh or horse's trotting, something that's very easily replicated for you, a sound that you're very familiar with. Then what you want to do is you want to continually imagine what that sound sounds like. I keep saying that. What that sound sounds like, and do that for a couple minutes per sound. I would only start with 2 or 3 sounds for the first exercise and then work your way up to trying to do 5 or more. It's probably easier in the beginning just to start with 1 or 2 and then work your way up, because you don't want to get too drained by doing this exercise, because you'll never go back to meditation again if you do. The second exercise is also like the first exercise in a way. It's picking somebody's voice to sort of replicate in your mind. Now this needs to be somebody that you're very close with. Trying to imagine somebody's voice in your own mind is very difficult unless you've been around them a lot. So make sure you choose someone that you're close with, such as a boyfriend, a friend, a parent, or a sibling, and you sit and then just try to like have a conversation using their voice as the other like end. And that will help to sort of develop this ability a little bit faster. This is more of an intermediate to advanced exercise though, so don't be too hard on yourself if it's a little bit difficult at first. Stick with the first exercise and then work your way up to this one, and that opens the door for being able to communicate more with your guides and angels and things like that. Stick with it and I'm sure you'll see progress if you do this every day for a couple weeks. The last exercise is something that I just learned about recently, and it's super easy and really fun, so I wanted to share it with you guys. What you're going to do is you're going to pick a piece of music. Classical music works really well, but it can be one of your favorite songs. You pick a certain part of that song to listen to throughout the entire duration. So if you picked, let's say, an Ariana Grande song, you would go through and you would either listen to her voice or a certain instrument throughout the entire song, and then go back and listen to a different instrument or the backup vocals the next time. That's a great way to start to develop that focus in the clairaudient space, and it's a great way to start to develop the ability just in general. Try that out. That's a really great exercise. It can be your favorite song. It can be a song that you pick randomly that you don't know very well. Definitely pick a song that you feel you can focus on for the entire duration of the song, and then pick one particular part of the song to focus on for that whole duration. Does that sound right? Okay. Those are the tips that I have for developing your clairaudience. I'm so excited to hear about everybody's progress, just like the clairvoyant exercises. And next week, we'll be going over clairsentience, which is clear feeling. So if you're an empath, you do not want to miss next week's video, because there's going to be tons of tips and tons of helpful exercises that you can use to start to not only protect yourself and your own energy, but also to develop your own clairsentience. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, comment down below which exercise you're the most excited for, and I will see you on the next Psychic Sunday with Jackie.